Hi, I'm Dana, and first off, I'm keeping out just this bit of the long section of my hair because look how it's a perfect ringlet. Didn't do nothing to it, just sort of like scrunched it and put it in it like I do with the rest of it. Flawless. Perfect ringlet, I'm so happy with her. But moving on from that and on to the actual topic of today's video, I wanted to talk about some of the sort of more light-hearted ways that my family were abusive towards me. It's the stuff that I brought up to them and they acted as though I was being ridiculous for bringing it up or thinking there was any sort of issue with it. So it's stuff that I very much dismissed and wrote off and didn't see as there being anything wrong with it. I was like, I'm being oversensitive, I'm being dramatic, I'm trying to stir the pot and cause drama, because that's what I was being told when I brought these things up. But I actually, looking back, think many of them were very valid and actually weren't things that my family should have been doing. And as always, I always feel a bit odd making these types of videos because I don't want it to be listen to the trauma I've been through, guys. You know, I'm not out here being feel sorry for me. It's very much, this is stuff that I thought was okay. It's stuff that I genuinely wrote off and was like, yeah, I'm just being too much about this. I'm being oversensitive. And I feel like if I was doing that for the majority of my life, there's probably lots of other people doing that with similar things, and I really wish that I'd had someone to prompt me to think about it and to be like, that's probably not okay, you know? I very much am trying to prompt and help out other people, and I hope it's relatable to people that have also been through it and on the other side, but it's very much supposed to be helpful, and I'm not trying to garner any sort of I don't need you letting me know how sorry you are, essentially. I appreciate it, but I also I'm quite uncomfortable about it. It is more of a me issue than a you issue. But yeah, disclaimer, done. So the first one was one of the earliest things that I brought up. I was probably 8 or 9 when I brought this up, because my mum was someone who put pictures all over the house. There was always stuff all over the walls. And eventually it got to a point where I was like, hey, how come all of the pictures, all the family pictures, all the pictures of the family together are from before I was born? How come we've never updated them or taken any with me in it? What's that about? And my mum was immediately very offended and she was like, I have pictures of you up, don't I? And I was like, yeah, you do, of me on my birthday, me doing this thing, me and my dad doing this, me and my brothers doing this. There isn't a single full family picture that I'm included in, but we do have several professionally taken, nicely framed pictures of you and my dad and both my brothers a few years before I was born. And they're proudly displayed. And don't get me wrong, I don't think they should have been taken down. I'm not you can't have pictures without me. Maybe just one family picture that I'm included in by the age of 9 would be quite nice. And I've started with that one because it does somewhat lead me into my next one, but it's also just an encapsulated thing where I wasn't exactly excluded from the family, but I also wasn't exactly considered a part of the family unit. I never felt like there was quite space for me. They'd already been a family for a good amount of time before I came along, and I was just sort of this extra addition that they didn't really intend for, you know? And that hit again big time. I would have been 18, maybe 19, and I'd gone over and there was all this paperwork to my mum's house where she was living with both my brothers at the time, and there was just paperwork all over the table. So as you do when it's your immediate family, I had a little nose and I was like, hey, how come your name isn't on this? How come your name on this is different to your name? And my mum was like, oh, well, that's my maiden name, isn't it? And I was like, well, yeah, but you and my dad never got divorced and he died not all that long ago. I just wasn't expecting you to immediately go back to your maiden name as though he hadn't really existed. But what's gone on? And I was like, but there's my brothers as well with your maiden name, and there's my other brother's name, your maiden name. They're deed poll papers, I think that's what they're called. It was the official papers because they'd all just changed their name without bringing it up to me or mentioning to me at all, so that I had a different name to them. I still had my dad's last name, and they'd all reverted to my mother's maiden name without any sort of a hint to me that it was happening. And I got upset, you know, my eyes teared up and I was like, so you've just done this without me, you've just all change your name to be different from mine. And they were oh, for fuck's sake, Dan, come on, we haven't done it without you. It hasn't been a whole secret thing without you. We just didn't really think about it. Like, we wanted our name back. You haven't brought it up, so we didn't assume you wanted it. And it's like, you never fucking mentioned it to me. So like, my dad's just died, and now my family are acting as though like I'm nothing to do with them now, and they insisted that it wasn't like that at all. And I'm like, well, how the fuck else is it? When you're all reverting back to my mum's maiden name and not bringing it up to me and not mentioning it to me and leaving me with my dad's, like, what else is that supposed to be? And those are like the big examples, but there were always lots of little things. Like, another one that jumps out to me is that the same friend that messaged me like 20 minutes after my mum had died, being like, if you even care, like, not that you'll give a shit, but your mum has just died. And like, that was, you know, fucking horrible of her, because she was an absolutely horrible, wretched person, to be completely honest with you. She couldn't even be nice to her own kids, and I will shit talk her online. But there was a point when she'd come over to see my mum, and we were all just like hanging out, having a nice little time. She was like, oh, Tina, that's my mum's name. I don't suppose I feel like I'm doxing my mother for revealing her first name, but you know, she'd like call my mum over and be like, oh, I've got a present for you here. And she pulled out this like fucking disgusting candle holder that was like 3 angels dancing around like where the candle would go. And she was like, yeah, because I was thinking it was you. Doxing my whole family now. You've got my brother's names, and like, that's my gift to you. It's the 3 of you, your family. And I was just stood there like, nice, my mum's family, not me. And like, I remember there would be so many times that my mum would get like a pack of muffins or a pack of donuts and things like that, and there'd be 4, and obviously we were a family of 5, and she'd be like, oh, it's the perfect amount for the whole family. And I'd just be like, oh well, okay, I'm not getting one then, because I was the fat kid. And something that I think kind of provides added context to why that was hurtful and upsetting is that when I was 13 maybe, it was in Denmark, my mum sat me down and she was like, you've gotten older now and you notice things, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I do. You know, like, undiagnosed autistic teen constantly being moved around place to place with like really quite neglectful and abusive parents. I have some pattern recognition skills, I sure do. And essentially she'd been getting worried that I would notice that the dates for like when her and my dad met, and when they'd gotten married, and when my brothers were born, and when I was born, like, all of that didn't quite make sense. And I hadn't noticed that because I'm shit with dates and maths and numbers and stuff, but she was convinced that I was going to notice soon. So it was very important that she let me know. And bear in mind, I only knew any of these dates because she went out of her way to tell me. Like, I don't remember ever asking like, when did you, and like, what was the date when you and dad met, you know? Like, I remember asking like, when did you meet, how did you meet, kind of thing, and she just needed to say like, the year, you know? But she'd gone out of her way to lie to me and like create a multitude of dates that she then later realised didn't match up, but she had to stick to because they, like, this was engraved on jewellery, you know? Like, these were the dates that she pretended were the anniversary of when she had married her husband, and she'd been lying about them my entire life. They'd fabricated a load of like lied about dates because my brothers weren't my dad's children. And like, it's a purely biological thing. Like, this is what really pissed me off about it, is that she was like, you know, we didn't want you to know because we were so certain that like you would not see them as your brothers, and you wouldn't see them as family, and you'd think this and you'd think that. And it's like, you went with this from when I was an extremely young child. Like, why would you make that assumption about what I would, like, it's just a bizarre thing to think. Even now, like, I don't like them. I haven't spoken to them in years. I absolutely can't stand them. Waste of oxygen, to be completely frank with you. They're still my brothers. Like, you know, whether I fucking like it or not, they are the people that I was raised with, and they are my brothers. It pissed me off that she thought that. It pissed me off that they'd lied to me for my entire life. And especially, like, I think I'd understand it more if we like lived in posh areas where that kind of thing didn't happen, you know? But like, most of my friends had step siblings. Like, it was not a thing, you know? Like, my own mother, like, most of her siblings had different dads. Like, it's just, I don't understand where that assumption about me came from, especially as a young child, and to then spend years lying about it, and to then change their fucking names without me and all. Like, fuck off. Moving on from that a little bit though, one of the things that I think really, I mean, that definitely did affect me, don't get me wrong, that wasn't pleasant, but one of the things that has definitely continued to deeply affect me as a person and to like definitely cause issues in my life is that if I tried something new and wasn't immediately really fucking good at it, I was made to feel like absolute shit. They would like, I don't want to say publicly humiliate me, because it was usually like within the family home and it was just the four of them. The three of them, my dad wasn't usually about, to be completely honest, but when he was, he just sat there. But they would just make me feel so fucking stupid for ever trying something new. Like, anything. Like, I got my first bike for Christmas when I was like 6 or 7, and within a few weeks my dad was like, you need to get off the stabilizers, it's ridiculous that you're riding with stabilizers at this age. So he took them off my bike, he took me to the top of a fucking hill, held the seat as I got like somewhat used to it, and then just shoved it down the hill, and obviously I fucking fell off. And like, by the time I came off, I was going some speed and it really fucking hurt, and I remember like the way that the handlebars dug into my stomach, like, it was a horrible fucking fall. I was bleeding. It was a whole thing. I didn't ride a bike again until we moved to Denmark, and they were just like, well, you have to ride a bike to school. You're going to have to get on it. You get used to it, bitch. But I would say that like the main reason that I didn't want to get back on a bike and I didn't want to ride it again was because I remember the way that like my dad picked me up, because I was just like, my knees were bleeding, my arms were bleeding, I think my face might have been bleeding, like, I'd had a bad fall. The first thing I see up on my dad picking me up is both my brothers standing there laughing at me. My mum comes to the door and goes, oh, fuck's sake, have you fallen off it? Like, no empathy, no compassion, no, like, being motherly towards me. So often when I was injured, like, there was no motherly reaction from her. It was just, oh, for fuck's sake, you've gotten hurt again. Great, we're going to have to sit in A&E now. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that. Oh, stay still, will you? I need to clean it. Like, she was just so fucking annoyed at me for being hurt. And she was so fucking annoyed at me for not being able to ride the bike. Like, I remember just weeks and weeks of it coming up and her being like, oh, you're not going to be able to do this either. Like, you can't ride a bike. Everyone else can ride a bike. Oh, being your age and not being able to ride a bike without stabilisers. Like, I was just made to feel so fucking stupid for it, when I wasn't even given a fucking chance to learn, you know? And like, one of my like things that made me like shut the fuck down as a teenager and like really genuinely affected me for quite a long time was that we'd gotten one of those like Wii games that where you sing into the microphones and you have to like keep it the right thing, and I was winning as well. I was fucking winning. I had the most score. I'm not saying I'm a fucking good singer or that I was in picturing key or whatever else, but I'm saying that I was hitting the fucking notes that the game gave me, and that's the point of the game, you know? Like, I am focusing more on hitting those things than I am on singing, because the point of the game is to score. Like, I get that it's a singing game and part of the point is kind of to sing, but I'm also making sure I hit the fucking things okay. And she turned to me during like a break of it and she was just like, God, you sound awful right now. Why are you singing like that? And I was like, because it's the game. Like, so often just the questions that my mum asked me, I was just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to reply to that. Like, it feels like if you take 3 seconds to think about the question you just asked me, you'll probably figure it out, you know? Why are you singing like that? Because that's how I fucking sound when I sing. Like, but it was just stuff like that all the time, where anytime I did something, anytime I failed at something, they just made me feel so bad about it, even though I already felt bad about it because I'd failed, and they would just sort of humiliate me over it. And like, it terrifies me, like for a multitude of reasons, it terrifies me to try new things. And that's definitely fucking built into it, is that I have this like expectation built by like repeatedly having it happen, that if I try something and I'm not good at it, someone is going to intentionally humiliate me for it and make me feel really bad about it and laugh at me and make a whole thing out of it and keep bringing it up. And it's going to be this like lifelong thing of, ha, you couldn't do that thing, you're a failure. And the other side of that, on my next point, is that they were, again, just sort of annoyed at the inconvenience of me existing during the times when other people's parents were proud of them. So like, I was going to LIPA 419, that was like, it's quite a good fucking music and drama university that does like a youth programme. I went to that for years, and we would have shows that we put on and various performances. I also did drama in school. I did like a local drama group. I did a lot of different like choirs and drama throughout, like when I was in primary school all the way up until I was like 16ish. And they came to like, there were a few shows that my dad missed because he just wasn't well, and I understood that. But other than that, they both came to, and even one of the ones that my dad couldn't make, my mum usually came to, and they just It was the biggest fucking inconvenience in the world for them to have to get dressed up and leave the house and come to a place just to watch a load of kids perform just to go home again. That was how they saw it, and they told me it multiple times. It was just showing up to watch a load of kids do some shit on a stage and then go home again. They weren't proud of me. They didn't care about the performances. Like, they did not give a fuck. Like, I would hear from the other kids about how they were getting a new outfit because they'd done the performance so well, or they'd be getting takeout with their family on the way home, and they'd be going here, or they'd be doing this. And I just would sit there and not say shit because my parents are going to show up and my dad's going to go, oh yeah, that was really good, babe, well done. And my mum's going to go, right, you ready to go then? You got your stuff? Yeah, let's go in the car then. And we're going to drive home, and I'm going to go up to my room, and that's going to be that. They didn't care, you know? Like, to be fair, I do think that my dad cared about it and just didn't really know how to show it. But my mum straight up acted like it was an inconvenience to her, and like it was just a load of huffing and sighing and tussing. Like, she that's the thing, is like she wouldn't say shit. So if I was like, what's your problem? She'd be like, I haven't fucking said anything, have I? Why do you think I've got a problem? You fucking think I've got a problem all of a sudden? And I'd be like, well, you have been sat here for the last 25 minutes just going so, like, I kind of do think that you have a fucking problem, to be honest with you, but apparently not. And I'd be watching other people getting hugs and kisses and, like, presents off their parents and being, like, patted on the back and just, like, having a nice time following the performance. And I would be fucking just dreading having to go home and try to regulate myself after all this adrenaline in my room and just, like, sitting there and be like, oh, fuck, oh, I need to watch Grease, I need to do something. Like, it was a nightmare. It was a genuine nightmare, and my parents just did not give a shit. And a slightly quicker, and I think even more like sort of like on the surface sort of light-hearted type of thing, was that my parents expected me to fix things myself. They saw everything as like, this is an opportunity for you to learn, no matter how fucking dangerous it was. So in Denmark, to come home from school, I had to go down a really steep hill and then up one, and I want to say like probably 2 months where I knew, like, my brakes had just stopped working. Like, they straight up, pressing my brakes on my bike didn't do anything. And walking home from school was a fucking long walk. So what I had to do was learn to time, like, I would go as slowly as I could down the hill, which was still pretty fucking fast. And then I would just have to try to make sure that I got the right fucking timing with the cars to not get hit. And by going up the hill to the house, I would be going slow enough, but when we got there, that I'd be able to sort of, like, throw myself off my bike. Because my dad was like, it's your bike, learn to fix the brakes. And I was like, how? What are you expecting me to do? You know? Like, the only internet access in the house was my dad's laptop, which I didn't get to have access to. I had a phone, it couldn't go on the internet. Like, I assume it would have cost money of some sort, and it was pay as you go, and I didn't get an awful lot of credit. Like, I couldn't Google it, and no one would tell me what to do because I needed to learn because it was my bike. So I just spent months putting myself in like a horrifically dangerous position until one of the guys that like worked, I think he worked, some random fucking man, like full grown man, approached me as like a 12, 13-year-old girl and was like, do you need some help to fix your bike? And I was like, yes, fucking please. And I followed him to his home where he fixed my brakes, and then I went home. And like, it's one of those things where it was really nice of him and he seemed really lovely, but also I was a teenage girl that just went home with some fella, you know? Like, that could have gone really fucking badly for me. Not to mention the months that I've been risking getting hit by cars every single day on my way home from school. Similarly, there was a point in Denmark when my window started leaking because it was one of the ones that's on like the slanted bit of the roof, and it just started, like, it snowed and the snow was melting and it just started like coming straight through into my fucking bedroom. It didn't when it rained, but it had now that it snowed, and there was a plug directly underneath it, and I was like asking my parents, what do I do? Because like water isn't very good when it mixes with electricity, I don't think. Like, I am literally 12 years old and you should probably just come and have a look at it, but I do think electric plus water, not good. And my dad was again just like, I'll turn it off, like, it's a plug, what do you want me to do with it? So I just had water going straight directly into a plug socket in my room for like 3 weeks. Like, things like that all the time where I'd be like, hi parents, people who are raising me and teaching me how to live, how do I do this thing that I need to know to live? And they'd be like, fuck's sake, haven't you figured it out yet? It's a learning opportunity, go learn. Like, teach me. I find it hard to know what to say about a lot of it because I am just like, Like, as someone who doesn't like children, they scare me, they overwhelm me, they gross me out a bit. Like, I don't enjoy being around them. If a child asked me things like if a 12-year-old didn't know how to fix their brakes and needed help with it, I'd fucking help them even if they weren't my 12-year-old. Because I don't want a 12-year-old to be at risk out in the street, and they need to learn at some point, and they need someone to teach them in order to... Like, I just don't understand how my parents were my parents, and I'd gotten to be as old as I was without them ever fucking teaching me anything. You know, the fact that I'm still alive is honestly kind of a miracle, but I don't see it as one. So yeah, that's the video. My voice is going. I'm absolutely all talked out. I want to be done. So please do like and subscribe, and maybe comment to help me in the algorithm. I don't fucking know. Do whatever the shit you want. You can also find me over on Blue Sky, Instagram or TikTok if you wanted to. I still aren't posting shite on Blue Sky, I won't lie to you, but I am posting regularly on TikTok, and like, do what you will with that. I also have a Patreon. I also have a Ko-fi. Again, do what you fucking will with that. Thank you for hanging out and watching the video. I do appreciate it. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.